For several months, the main object of her life had been to understand, comfort, and amuse Stephen Tye. This excuse was at any rate reasonable. For 3 weeks, the two of them had been no longer acting students, but professionals. And, of all the new batch who in that summer of 1920 had begun to haunt agents' offices, Stephen could least afford to miss any chance. He was 30, far older than the other ex-officers who had used their gratuities to train at the Garrick School of Drama. Though his age gave him great prestige in Clara's eyes, he himself was sensitive and occasionally morose about it. He was fond of exaggerating Clara's youth and treating her as if she were a schoolgirl instead of just turned 21. Whenever she tried to claim any experience of life, he would say inaccurately, "You were in the nursery when I was mouldering in a Flanders dugout." Since Clara was in love with Stephen Tye, she found it wiser not to argue with him. Above all, she tried never to make a fuss, however much he teased her, patronised her, missed appointments, or turned up late in various stages of drink, wildly gay, pugnacious, or suicidal. It was the war that had made Stephen drink, and though she hated to see him drunk, she took it as a sign that he was more sensitive than other people, and felt a respectful pity. She knew that Celia, the wife some years older than himself, who had died in the flu epidemic of 1918, had been in the habit of making fusses. Clara was sure that the faint hope of Stephen's asking her to marry him depended on her being as unlike Celia as possible. As she sat forlornly, trying not to watch the buffet clock and see how few minutes she would be able to snatch with him, she almost hoped he would not come. Try as she would, she could not help feeling hurt. How terrible if, from sheer tension, she were to make a fuss at the last moment. Better to lose her farewell kiss — he had, after all, kissed her very sweetly in the bar at lunchtime — than spend the long night journey to York tormenting herself for having said the wrong word or used the wrong voice or look. Already at distant tables, she could see some of the members of the Clerical Error Company. There were the two elderly ones, Merton Mordish, who played the heavy comic, and Millicent Cook, who played the spinster aunt, deep in conversation. No one could have mistaken Merton Mordish, with his mane of grey hair, his wide hat, and his caped ulster, for anything but an old actor. Even the way he slammed down his tankard and threw back his head as he drank suggested business. Millicent Cook, whom the whole company instinctively addressed as Miss Cook, looked more than ever like a real spinster aunt, as, wearing a raffia-trimmed hat and a suit obviously knitted by herself, she sipped her tea with her prim, unpainted mouth.